Oh, you're so beautiful.
Lift your bottom, okay. Let's get rid of all that, and then give me one more check.
Oh, you're so beautiful.
Yeah, we have one more that's torn, and I have more in my
We did it. Oh.
You did it, okay.
You used this.
Fly with the rainbow, above the clouds we go. Fly with the rainbow, over islands in the sea. Look down from the clouds with me, a bridge of colors glad to see. Raindrops from the mountains flow, from forest high to reef below. Fly with the rainbow, above the clouds we go. Fly with the rainbow, over islands in the sea.
Hush, shh, hush. Let me tell you a story. It's the story of a family. It's the story of a child. It's your story, sweet baby. It all began in a dark, warm sea. On the day you began to grow, you were growing a mother, growing a father, growing a family. And from that time on, a bigger love had begun, and there was much to learn and much to celebrate.
Pregnancy, birth, and the postnatal period can be discussed as 4 distinct stages, each with their own opportunities, challenges, and rewards. The first stage, often called the first trimester, refers to months 1, 2, and 3 of gestation. At this time, a woman will discover and confirm her pregnancy, begin prenatal care with a chosen midwife, doctor, or birthing professional, and make the changes necessary to ensure optimum health for herself and her baby.
Many, countless women have told me they knew the moment they conceived. They are absolutely conscious of it. And I believe them. They are in touch with their bodies.
So when I found out I was pregnant, I pretty much tripped over my panties. I think I used like 2 Costco packs of pregnancy tests because I was so excited.
Oh, we were super excited. It was an intentional birth, so
Okay, good.
yeah, we definitely had that intention to get pregnant, and so it was really exciting.
We were obviously really happy, and we
were so happy.
She was on it, so.
Yeah, we had a miscarriage a few months earlier when we got pregnant the first time that time, and it was super devastating and just really for anyone, and that it just sucks. So, that was really, really sad, and I wanted to have a baby so bad.
Yeah, I felt joy, just absolute joy that we got pregnant so fast. We tried on the first time we got pregnant, so it was really easy.
This is the time when you want to put everything right into your life in that first trimester.
Well, my belief, of course, because I exist very much in the Western medical system, okay, is that she should get an appointment with a physician right away.
A child will come into the world from an optimal environment when there is love. I like to say the best prenatal care is good food and a warm, loving relationship.
She needs an environment that is safe, secure, and loving. A place where she can feel completely free to do whatever she needs to do in order to have this baby.
And so there's a number of things that we do right away. We confirm the pregnancy, we make sure that we understand how far along she is, and we begin testing and interventions and those sorts of things depending on her history and things that are going on to try to maximize the outcomes just as soon as we can.
Birth is not just a physical event. That birth has intersecting lines where you have emotions, you have a mental aspect, you have spiritual aspects.
We don't realize that that baby is a fully conscious, fully formed, fully functioning human being until they're outside. And there's so much that has happened in that whole journey of being conceived and coming in and going down the fallopian tube and finding that little place to burrow into the womb.
I am never alone now. Sleep, sing, dance, dream together. Hearts beat in rhythm. All of my feelings pumped by my heart into you, dear one, coursing through shared veins.
Biologically, food. She has to have the right kind of food. She has to be eating whole foods, fresh foods. You know, she can't be eating hot dogs and hamburgers, or chicken that's been raised in a little cage and fed antibiotics, things like that. So being really aware of what's going into her body. And then not only what's going into her body on that physical level, but what is she eating emotionally?
Eating emotionally?
Eating emotionally. We eat that. We eat anger. We eat fear. It goes right into our bodies.
Your spine, brain, and heart began growing within just a few weeks. Eyes, legs, and hands began to form. Your brain was working, and in only 4 weeks, you were 10,000 times the size you were when our story began. After growing for just 2 months, you had all your organs, your fingernails, and we could even hear your heartbeat.
Wow, hearing our baby's heartbeat, at that moment we didn't know it was 2, so it just got me to tears. Very emotional, knowing that actually that little human being already has the strong heart, and hearing it is just amazing.
And there it was, like this little being, and it was such a magical thing for the family as well, because she was the first grandchild, and we were all there to hear that and experience that.
There's no rewind now. This is like a human being growing inside of my body, and we're not on a spaceship here. We're on Earth. Like, this is real.
So I was like doing the naked dance, and he was in the room, and I'm like, yes! Oh my God! And the doctor was very serious, when he left, and I was just doing my jumping for joy.
She carries our baby, but I want to be part of it all. What can I do to help her? What makes a baby healthy and grow strong? What makes a baby happy?
His role is extremely important. We have just in the last 35, 40 years maybe, told dads that they could be at birth. Before that we said, no, this is not your place. Men don't belong at birth.
The partner needs to understand that whatever the woman needs is what that partner is supposed to deliver. That having preconceived notions about what it's going to be like and what you're going to do and what's going to be said and all those sorts of things is very inappropriate.
His line is, he took the approach of worship the goddess. Mm-hmm. And I am so fortunate and so blessed to have a man who took that role, where it was whatever I needed to be happy.
It really helps if there's a partner who is supportive of her and her up and down in emotions and doesn't take it personally. If she gets angry for some reason that he can't figure out, doesn't know what he did, or she starts crying and he can't figure out why. But to just be able to hold her and say, I love you.
The best thing to do is to recognize that this is a very difficult, life-altering process. Emotions are high, and just ride it out.
And he's going into a situation where he really can't do anything except to love her and to be fully, completely present.
Making all the decisions in pregnancy and during labor and even afterwards are really affected most by the partner.
But what we have discovered is that daddies can play a really significant role in the birth if he's fully present, which means he's got to learn to let go of all his stuff. He's got to have some understanding of his own birth story. He's got to have some understanding of his own traumas in his life, anything that might trigger him in that birth. I can't emphasize how important it is to take care of pregnant moms. If we want children who are going to be calm, peaceful, creative, thinking, processing human beings, and not those that are, constantly going, what's happening next? Where's the next blow coming from? Because their brains are going to wire for it.
In traditional China, it was believed the disposition of a child resulted from the behavior of the mother during pregnancy. Fighting, gossiping, and sadness were avoided at all costs. Never argue with a pregnant woman, and if you do, let her have the last word.
Now that your taste buds were formed, you began to grow bone marrow and all of your bones. You could even wiggle and dance inside Mama, suck your thumb, and by the end of month 4, you weighed ½ a pound. Soon you would be having your first dreams.
The second stage, called the second trimester, refers to the months 4, 5, and 6 of gestation. At this time, a baby will grow from 1/2 to nearly 2 pounds and pump 25 quarts of blood through the body each day. Practice breathing by inhaling amniotic fluid through the developing lungs. Begin dreaming during REM sleep and practice grasping with fingers on the umbilical cord. For the mother, this time is marked by a growing belly, more energy, less nausea, changes in skin and weight, light cramping, leg swelling, and the sensing of baby's movements.
It's just the best feeling. I mean, it really, because I was so nervous because of the previous miscarriage, I was so nervous so that when the baby started moving, it was a way that she and I could check in together. I knew she was okay in there. So that was a big help, I didn't have the anxiety every time we went to the doctor then that, oh my gosh, is she okay? Because I felt her moving.
The first time we felt the baby moving was actually on the first trimester. Usually it's on the second, but maybe because it was 2 or something, but it was almost at the end of the first trimester when I felt it really strong. One day it just kicked me and it woke me up. And I just felt like, wow, it's strong, it's there, it's excited. I thought it was a boy because it kicked so much. Ended up being 2 girls.
Someone had described it like as butterflies in your stomach, but like not the nervousness, but like actually like this fluttering. Yeah. And then I felt that and I was just like so just elated and excited that like I finally was able to feel that, the first smallest movement inside,
Her belly just popped out and like moved across really fast and like, whoa,
I remember the experience being unfair because I was like, you're feeling movements inside, I can't feel anything, and it took months for me to finally be able to feel anything as far as I remember, and I was like, jealous.
The second trimester, I think my favorite part of that is getting to know my baby's personality, like the way they would kick, the way they would move, whether it was graceful or it was spunky. I felt like that's when the real connection happened. I wasn't nauseous anymore. Now I was more alert and connected. I'm feeling my baby move. I know I'm just, somehow you gained a relationship through like movement, more or less. Like there's life in there and you felt it.
Some of the movements I remember when she was inside Coco's belly was just like the huge motions that were like, it was almost like a sci-fi film, and I thought, I was like, oh my god, it's like this, and she was doing like an impersonation of what she was doing in this style, like a kick, punch, and like a woo.
I picture your lips pursing and nursing through taste, your first spice and sweets. Does all that growing, stretching, pressing into hands and toes make you ache, little one? Take iron, build blood. Take calcium, build white bone. Take love, and give life.
Well, by the time she gets to that second trimester, she's far enough along that she's beginning to show and feel the baby, and there's that excitement about that, you know, it's more than just fluttering or bubbles or heartburn. This is really the baby.
And, you know, it was around 16 weeks, I believe, so that's into the second trimester that I began to feel the baby inside me and kicking and moving around. And wow, the realization of the gravity of it all really sunk in then, when my belly is starting to grow and she's in there kicking around and moving around and flip-flopping and doing her thing, and really starting to understand what it was meaning for me.
And most women are beyond that early pregnancy, nausea, don't feel good place. And they also are not to the place where their bellies are so big that they're bumping into things, or, you know, having trouble walking, or, you know, their whole insides are squished.
I have a lot to say about the womb environment, mostly because I'm a student not only of Western biological medicine, but also of Tibetan medicine.
I think that there is a high level of mysticism regarding the intrauterine environment and its impact on the individual that's being created and will eventually be born.
How the child forms, the actual environment has a sensitivity and a response reaction to not only the mother's diet, lifestyle, behavior, but also the emotional warmth in the family group, whether it's a husband, partner, father of the baby, or even another female partner.
My personal opinion is that the intrauterine environment can be very, very bad. You can have poor nutrient supply, you can have diabetes, you can have a number of different factors that are making the intrauterine environment not conducive to good fetal health. And that child will still do well, because in the postnatal period, that child has adequate nutrition, that child has adequate health care, is cared for by loving parents who are dedicated to that child's well-being, and that will virtually every time overcome any intrauterine environment problems.
Right from the beginning, you know, is it welcoming and nurturing place to be? What happened at conception? You know, was this a loving pairing of two people, or was this a drunken brawl? I mean, that's going to make a difference in how that baby is perceiving life. And we just don't pay attention to that. We don't think about that.
There's a new revolution again, and it comes in cycles, and it's coming again to take a stance in your birth experience. And so that comes with learning the environment of the baby. What must the baby be doing in there at this time? So getting stress out of your life. Stress is huge.
Everything is safe and warm. I feel the soft water, the rocking, the sounds of our heartbeats, Mama and me. I hear her singing and Papa talking.
As long as Mom is taking care of herself, that womb is nurturing and precious and wonderful.
From perinatal research, we know just from twins in the womb that they can feel love and warmth and response from each other. But the babies also feel the emotions of the mother. And so the research does show a mother that's depressed, the baby will also feel that. A mother that's scared or angered, the baby can also feel that in some capacity.
Singing to the baby, father talking, reading to the baby, touching their belly, developing a relationship with this baby that goes generations ahead.
It's hard to believe my son or daughter is living inside her right now. Until I hold my baby, it all feels a bit unreal. Is there anything I should do before that day comes to introduce myself to our child?
When she was inside Coco, we sang a lot of songs, and we said a lot of positive things to the baby, and we sang some Buddy Holly and My Little Buttercup.
We try talking to them, playing music to them. For me, just by even like breathing, eating, simple things that I do every day was, I was trying to communicate to them through that.
I felt like she was always included, talking to her, letting her know what was going on, and then just just consciously including her in all of the decisions, because everything affects her too.
I practically changed everything on my habits, how I do it. Like I stopped rushing, keeping a good, nice breathe, and with diet too. I communicate with him with dieting, with nice walking more, exercising. I started doing things that I never did before.
I remember we were in the middle of a move during that time, and so we were, when things would get stressful or intense, we would explain to her what's going on and even ask her for her input.
I had made up a little song before I had felt her kick and before we heard the heartbeat, that just a song that my little baby's okay and healthy and strong, and that helped,
So this environment, it's got to be a place where this human being that is growing in there feels nurtured and wanted and loved.
In traditional Central American tribes, when a woman announced her pregnancy, she was treated with extraordinary care. Food was prepared by other women. She could only do light work, and baths of lukewarm water were poured for her daily. If the water was too cold, it would tighten her pelvis, ensuring a long labor. If too hot, it could raise her blood pressure and endanger the baby. All was done to preserve her equilibrium through pregnancy.
Next, you began opening and closing your eyes, sweet one. Inside the womb, you were protected, but not separate. Your walls were porous to the sounds, tastes, feelings of Mama, Papa, and family. Wherever Mama was, you were. Your senses of hearing, touch, and taste were helping you to absorb all that entered your watery world. You were storing fat and growing bigger every moment, preparing for your great entrance.
The third stage, called the third trimester, refers to months 7, 8, 9 of gestation and includes the birthing. At this time, a baby will reach full term somewhere between 39 to 41 weeks, continue developing the complex central nervous system, have unique fingerprints, complete ossification of skull bones, grow hair, and detect light through the eyes, decrease amniotic fluid, rotate to a head-down position, and drop into the lower pelvis, ready for birth. The mother might start producing breast milk and experience soreness. Feel the full weight of pregnancy, baby, placenta, fluids, fat stores, and breast growth with muscular aches and pains. Experience Braxton Hicks or warm-up contractions. Feel baby's movements often and anticipate labor. Finalize the birth plan with partner and care providers.
We knew already it was going to be a life-changing thing, so we just took our time.
Our relationship and our romantic story is quite a whirlwind of a romance, and so it was pretty much like we met, soon after got married, soon after had a kid. And the whole time we were pretty sure, I mean, I remember it was like early on in the romance, we're like, we should have a baby. And it was pretty easy to agree on that.
In our society, you know, you go to the hospital, you go to an OBGYN, and that's what you do.
We definitely were talking with a midwife and a doula.
We talked to my mom. She was willing to come over and help. This happened way before. So it's like perfect, you know, we will have our parents' support, even though nobody lives in this island with us.
And I think there can be, if you want to have a natural birth, and if that's an important, you know, that's important to you as a woman, you can kind of do both.
And so if you are looking for a safe birth, first of all, you need to learn about your pregnancy, the body, what's happening, the statistics.
And if our world were set up in a way where it was designed to meet our biological needs first, then I think that it might be a little bit different and a little bit happier for everyone.
You're talking with a physician who delivers babies in a hospital. And I believe in what I do, that a hospital birth is the safest, best place for a baby to be born.
And I think hospitals are beginning to shift their perspective on birth too, and helping women create the kind of safety they want in the hospital.
There are very skilled providers who deliver babies outside of a hospital here on this island. And I think that there's good data that for highly selected low-risk women that is a reasonable choice for them.
And you have choices no matter what environment you're in, whether it's home or hospital. You always have the right to say, you know what, I pass. I don't want to do that. And that's a powerful place for a woman to be.
A hospital birth is going to be like very medicalized, loss of control of what happens to you and your baby.
But when you see a woman give birth in a gentle way, the baby comes in and knows they're on a cellular level, that as a human being, that they're safe and taken care of.
Every day brings us closer to our reunion. Twig by twig, a nest. Together, we dance, waltzes made of muscles and joints. My sway, your tumble. I am so full now of dreams, of love, of hopes of you. So full now. Only the muscle, the tissue, fluid, and time veils your world from mine.
From intuitive knowledge to scientific knowledge, the attitude and emotions of birthing mothers have profound effects on the birth experience. To support the mother and baby through this, instinctual, natural, ancient, normal, extraordinary, transformative, empowering experience, consider these birthing ideals. Expectant parents should participate fully in obstetric decisions through education and access to diverse information. When open communication of concerns and hopes between expectant parents and the birth team will lead to positive birth outcomes. A mother will labor best when she feels comfortable and secure. For some, this is at home, others at a hospital, and others at an alternative location like a birthing center. A mother in labor deserves a private and protective environment where she is free and supported to move and express herself. While a cesarean section may be necessary in some cases, the current rates are too high. Women's bodies were designed to birth. It is a natural process, not a medical condition or emergency. Women need to be supported through labor, not rescued from labor.
So fear in the Western culture was first contaminated in the hearts and minds of the people of Europe in the 1500s.
A lot of it comes from our media. If you watch shows around birth, pregnant women, they're all yelling and screaming and having a really hard time, and that's not how birth is.
The loss of control, the uncertainty as to what the outcome is going to be, okay? Because we can't guarantee a woman that she's going to have a vaginal birth or is going to push for just an hour versus 3 hours or whatever. And so for many people, the uncertainty of what is going to happen is terrible.
But how has fear evolved? Well, you have to go back to your own birth experience. And there are people who are studying going back to your own birth experience. Right then and there is where fear can be born.
I worry that I will feel helpless during the birth. What if something goes wrong? What if the pain is too much? This is my love, my partner in life. Can I only stand by and watch?
His role is extremely important. We have just in the last 35, 40 years maybe, told dads that they could be at birth.
Labor and birth is a force of nature. Labor has enough power to illuminate everyone's shadows. And a partner is there to help circulate that power and protect and defend any aspect that might violate a woman feeling safe, centered, grounded.
Daddies can play a really significant role in the birth if he's fully present, which means he's got to learn to let go.
When you can get to that point where you don't necessarily need words to communicate, that's such a special place to be in.
His role, and honestly for me and my process in my own birth, was to be quiet until I asked him for something.
Like holding me in a certain way, like several times, just like holding me in a position so that way I could be most comfortable. And I know there was some of those positions are probably hard on, like hard on his back.
I was so proud of her.
He and I, our relationship has actually gotten, don't you think it's
yeah,
even
we
closer,
grew way closer because, you know.
Every time we have a baby, something fuses twice as much between us. And we get this whole nother like muscle of love that we're exercising between the two of us.
Overall, yeah, we're way closer and we're more attracted to each other, more everything.
You had finished your growing on the inside, and it was time to come out and start your growing in the world. You began to feel your world clench and tremble. You could hear Mama call out, and suddenly you were traveling through the long, dark tunnel, not knowing we were all waiting on the other side.
In traditional clans of West Africa, it is typical that a birthing woman will be surrounded by several woman relatives and the tribe's midwife, while the men stay away. During her early labor, she is encouraged to walk as much as possible. When the waves of birth become intense, she will squat or use a short stool. A fire is built outside and warmed rocks are brought inside the birthing hut to keep the mother's body warm and prepare a warm, dark place for the newborn baby, mimicking the womb's environment.
A dream begins here. Wild woman surfs the waves of birth, landing a mother.
I've made a home here, sculpted from the inside out, only to break free.
I love you.
I love you.
It is an absolute miracle every time it happens. Every time I see a baby coming, going, how did that happen? How? how did this perfectly formed human being come out of this other human being? Every time I see it, I am completely blown away by it. I can't explain it. How does it happen other than this is a miracle? It's an everyday miracle that has happened and has made it through that whole journey. I mean, how does its baby even start? There's a miracle there, right from the very beginning, when all of those cells are coming together. You know, there's one over here, it's beating a little bit, and there's one over here, it's beating, but they're not synchronized, they're beating at different rates. And they begin to move together, and they come together and they start to go. It's the heart. How did that cell over there and that cell over there know that they were heart cells?
The theory of the fourth trimester presents that in the immediate time after birth and for the first few months of life, a human baby has only 3 basic reflexes: sucking, swallowing, and breathing. Unlike other mammals, the human infant cannot lift their head, sit or walk upright, move about, keep warm, or feed themselves. Therefore, at this time, a baby should have full access to mother night and day, eat when hungry, sleep when tired, be protected from full exposure to elements in public, have as much time as possible held or swaddled on mother's body or other family or partner. The immediate period after birth is time of healing and rejuvenation for the mother's body. To support this, a mother should receive breastfeeding support and aid if needed, help with food preparation and home duties, rest and nap when fatigued, receive postpartum care from birth professionals, be fully available and free to attend to her newborn.
The birthing process, the experience of growing a baby and the experience of raising a newborn baby, although they're part of a woman's life just as a normal, healthy woman, they're really hard, physically and emotionally.
She's in bed and she's taken care of. All her needs are met. And her job is to breastfeed the baby. And that's a 24-hour job. That doesn't stop, you know. She's doing that every few hours. So she really needs somebody to be there to feed her, to make sure the laundry's getting done, the house is getting cleaned, you know, the toilets are scrubbed, and all of those kinds of things, that she doesn't need to go anywhere.
So that's why, you know, we want women to have that advantage of getting pregnant on purpose, being prepared emotionally and financially for this, because that makes it much, much easier. Having a partner to help you through this is a lot easier than having a mom help you through this.
And if you watch newborn babies, they are here on mom's heart or dad's heart. They're facing in. It's a symbiotic relationship. Baby needs mom and mom needs baby. And dad needs this too. One of the best places for a baby to be is right on dad's chest.
In traditional Hawaii, the protocols following the birth of a keiki included an extended period of healing and rest for the mother and baby, where her only duty was to care for her baby. She was encouraged to tightly wrap and tie tea leaves around her belly to help with inflammation and return the uterus to its pre-pregnancy size. The placenta was buried and dedicated to the family's aumakua, and the piko, umbilical cord, after falling off was safeguarded and then often planted to acknowledge the aina.
We're trying to teach them Spanish as their first language, so that was kind of like more her tradition, is to teach them the culture of the people of Peru.
We just feel like we're doing what we felt was right, no matter what, you know, just following our own instincts and not necessarily following any sort of traditions. They're just doing what felt best.
This was a chance for us to create a totally blank slate of a life, start from scratch.
I'm so lucky that I have my mom with me. So she's been, telling me everything she did with me.
Yes.
So it really helps, because having your mother there, to guide you, it's just priceless.
We named our family a new name. So we both let go of our last names to create a new family line called the AO family. Her last name was Staffordshire, mine was Monarchik, and now we're the AO family. And for me, that was really symbolic of actually just having no traditions to start from and starting from scratch, because I was abandoned by both my adoptive parents and my natural parent. So I didn't really have a choice. I don't even remember my first 2 years of my life. So I wouldn't even, and I don't have the ability to ask, hey, what did you do in my life for the first, so I don't have a history.
Postpartum time can be really challenging, and this is when families really need support. And we have created this thing called a nuclear family, which I don't think is a really very good idea. We really need a tribe. We need a community of people around us, particularly in postpartum.
After the birth, many times you're already sleep deprived as a pregnant woman in your third trimester, and then you usually stay up all night having a baby, and then the baby's up every 90 minutes to feed for what seems like an eternity, and so you're pushing an intense sleep deficit, and you're not that comfortable, and your hormone levels, your progesterone level, which used to be 100 times your normal non-pregnant level, now is going to go back to the non-pregnant level, and your estrogen level is going to change too. And so there's all these fairly dramatic changes that are going on. It can be fine. Women come in and they're like, this is great, this is fantastic. And other women, it's not that easy.
I explain it like this. So, the mother is under the influence of a tremendous hormonal cocktail. She is going to ride that cocktail for approximately 10 days to 2 weeks postpartum. And it is a normal physiologic reaction after 10 days to 2 weeks for her to crash. That crashing looks like you're crying, you're weepy, or you may be a little edgy or impatient. Some women can get so frightened by this, they immediately think they're in a depression. No, postpartum has a physiologic velocity to it, where it's unstable. And that 10 days to 2 weeks of stability, when it crashes, that instability can feel overwhelming. So it's not to be alarmed. It is within a normal limit for sure, as long as there's enough social support and good nutrition.
But really like this sense of overwhelm that would overcome sometimes both of us. And for me, I think processing that was with my partner first was so important, to just say, this is where I'm at, I'm crying and it's midnight and I haven't slept, and can you just take her for a moment? And having a partner who could hear that and support that and just say yes and not ask questions, like you were saying before.
So it's creating a community for that initial postpartum time. And I tell families minimum 2 weeks, and that's the bare minimum, but you really need a month of food arriving every day at your house. Mom's job in that first week is to breastfeed her baby, period. She also is healing. And it doesn't matter how the birth went, she's got some healing she has to do, because we forget that after the baby's born, the placenta gets born. The placenta has been attached to her uterine wall, nurturing and feeding that baby, and it detaches from the uterine wall and it comes out. And it leaves a wound inside of her uterus that has to heal. And it's just like any wound, if you're not careful, it'll start bleeding again. So I really encourage families to set that up ahead of time. I call it their tribe of 12.
And I think the emotional challenges for him probably they would lie in feeling a bit helpless at times, because there wasn't anything that he could particularly do, because the baby's crying and needs me for milk. And You know, in that role, when it's an exclusively breastfed baby, the father can't really do anything other than support mom.
That smell, that baby smell. Oh my gosh, those few first, like, I guess it could be the first month. Time goes so fast once you have your baby. I can't get enough of that new baby smell. I'll sit there and just sniff at them in these big inhales until I can't take another breath. I'm going to pass out. That's probably my most fondest moments, is just smelling them.
It was really fun watching what caused her to smile.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and there was so many little things that we were totally surprised by, like people, like strangers coming in, making her laugh. Even friends of ours with big beards, like, whoa, she smiled at that? That's cool.
I remember the first time that, for both of my kids, the first time that we locked eyes and stuck. That also is like breathtaking. Like, it stops you in your tracks. I physically stopped when I was walking, and I had my baby in my ergo, and I was doing laundry, which I shouldn't have been, but I was doing it. And I'm looking down at my baby just for a second, and he was just gaping at me, just oodles of like love in his eyes, just gaping at me. And I just remember stopping, and I have no idea how long I stopped until the neighbor said, "Hey, what you doing?" Just hanging out with a basket and a baby, you know, in the carport.
We benefit from sacred, conscious conception and birthing by having peace in our world. That's ultimately what's going to happen, is we will create peace in this world, because every baby will be welcomed.
The process is unbelievable that a couple can get together and 9 months later, virtually 100% of the time, deliver an entirely perfect human being who, at the top of their shoulders, has a brain which is the most complex structure in the universe that we know of. Yeah. That is pretty amazing.
It is. I gained a lot of respect for Andrea with how much she had to go through, and just how strong she is.
You can sit there, gather your thoughts, and when you have that moment for reflection and you're loving that baby, you're creating this incredible hormone-filled optimism about what can be. It is beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Together we're so much stronger than like we've ever been after having babies. Every time we have a baby, something fuses twice as much between us.
Overall, yeah, we're way closer, and we're more attracted to each other, more everything.
Witnessing a goddess on her journey of being a woman and empowered and being transformed myself by her strength.
Now it's not just us making decisions for ourselves, it's us making decisions for ourselves and this other developing human.
It's an everyday miracle that is happening every time a baby is born.
The preparation is to fall into the abyss of love and then change the diaper.
Only a mother knows the magic of housing two hearts inside her. But soon enough, you make a home in all our hearts. And that is your story, dear one, the story of your birth.
And that is the story of a father being born.
And the birth of a mother.
And the birth of a family. We're all inside, birthed from one womb into the next. Mama to Mother Earth, this is our story, all of ours.
Hoku o na hoku e piki mai ana. Hoku o na hoku e imo ino nei. Hoku o na hoku e ala mai ana. Ua o iwia e i kalani. E kupu mau ho aloha e he amai ana. E noho mau ana no na kauakau. E mea maamau no ka pakona ne ana. ke kai lipo lipo. Stars, oh the stars, they're climbing into sight. Stars, oh the stars, they're winking in the night. Stars, oh the stars, they are all awakening, appearing, a multitude of light. Ever-present friends, calling, calling to me, steadfast and sure, forever they will be, shining as always, high and bright and free, constant companions on the deep sea.